Good day, students. Welcome to Accounting 2301. This is Principles of Financial Accounting. And in this short lecture, I am going to be going over the group project requirements. That way, I address some of your questions. And if after the presentation you still have any specific questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Okay. Now, this is a group project. Working alone is not an option. Okay. In week number 12, I have placed you in groups. I posted a Blackboard message, a Blackboard announcement providing you with the list of groups and the students under each of the groups. Okay. During week number 12, students are to establish communication with their group members. That's one. Delegate who's going to do what. Establish deadlines for the group. Okay, when are you expected to turn in your section? When are we going to do a group review to make sure that everybody complied with the policy? Make sure that you understand that this is not an individual assignment, this is a group assignment. So if you did an awesome job, but your peers did not, then that is going to affect you, okay? Because the grade is being given on an overall basis, okay? So in this particular lecture, that's all I'm going to cover. Just highlight specific information about the project, some resources, include information about where the notes need to go. I know some students usually have that kind of a question. So I hope I can answer the majority of your questions through here, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to log in into Blackboard, okay? Let me see if I'm in the right class, okay? Yeah, so I'm in my online Principles of Financial Accounting class, okay? In week 12, I posted, if you go to your announcements, you will see there on the announcement for week 12, you will see the listing of the group distribution, okay? It's very important that you view all of the weekly announcements. I post them for a reason, okay? So for week number 12, you're going to see at the bottom of the announcement the group distribution, okay, as well as the group project requirements. Okay, so I've made everything available to you. There's 5 groups in total. Those are the individuals in your assigned groups. Well, you might ask yourself, how am I going to get a hold of these people? Well, you have several options. You can either send them a Blackboard message or you can send them a Pronto message. Okay. After you establish communication as a group, then you all decide how are you going to be communicating. You can be communicating through WhatsApp, through any method. Create like a group, whatever works for you. Okay. But you do need to establish communication, and the only 2 ways that you have to establish communication within the course is through either a Blackboard message or a Pronto message. Okay. And then you all decide how you're going to be communicating going forward. In your communication with your group members, please make sure to be courteous and professional. No bullying, no being disrespectful. None of that will be tolerated, okay? We are all adults and we need to make sure that we meet deadlines. We are responsible for our work. We help each other out. This is a group project. If someone is struggling in a specific area, then you all need to jump in and help, because at the end of the day, this is a group assignment, and depending on the quality of work submitted overall is the grade you're going to get overall. I'm not going to grade you on the slides that you worked on, but an overall project, okay? So my recommendation is that you establish communication with your peers. You figure out a plan, who's going to do what, deadlines, internal deadlines. That way you can make sure that you review each other's work, put it together, are able to practice, are able to do the recordings, everything, okay? It might seem that you have a lot of time. I am giving you 3 weeks to work on this. So you will have from November the 13th until December the 3rd. That is when the assignment needs to be uploaded into Blackboard for grading, okay? So you have plenty of time to work on it, especially because you have 4 or 5 students in each group, depending on the group. So the workload should not be enough, should not be a lot, but it is critical that all of the components within the project are addressed, okay? So let me go ahead and exit here. That is on your Blackboard announcements, okay? All of that information. I exited too much. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and we're going to go to week number 13 and 14 in Blackboard. Okay, so if you go to week 13 and 14, you'll see that you're going to be working on the group project. Okay, those 2 weeks are just specific to the group project. You always start off with the module overview, the course learning outcomes, and the to-do list. You'll find important information there. Okay, In this folder, you're going to find, okay, an overview of what we're going to be working on, the project, the learning objectives. What are we going to learn? I don't assign projects or work just for fun. All of my work is tied to a learning or either a course learning outcome, a program learning outcome, or a chapter learning outcome. Okay, so we have to learn different things. For this particular project, we're covering course learning outcome number 7, which is to describe the conceptual differences between International Financial Reporting Standards and U.S. Generally Accepted Accounting Principles, GAAP. Okay, the assignment is going to be due on Sunday, December the 3rd at 11 p.m. I've included some videos here, how to add audio, and a PowerPoint tutorial using APA format, and adding speaker notes to your presentation. Please watch those videos if you need assistance, okay? Now, once you get into that folder, you will also find 2 assignments, okay? The first assignment is the actual research project, okay? For the research project, there will only be 1 submission per group. You all need to delegate 1 person to be the team lead, and that 1 person is going to submit 1 research project in this folder, okay? I don't want each of you sending the project over. No, only 1. At the end of the day, I should only have 5 projects submitted because I have 5 groups, okay? So you all decide who's going to upload it. The final presentation gets uploaded by the team lead, and that is it. Okay. Now for the group project self and peer evaluation, you are going to be evaluating yourself and your peers on your participation and contribution to the group project. Okay. Now for this one, you're going to download the file, and this is going to be done until you complete the project. Okay, because this is an evaluation of how you all did. Okay, you can download the file. You have an option here to download it. Okay, so you're going to download it. And let me download it so it can look clearer. Okay. It's going to be in a Word document. Okay. Please make sure that on the top, okay, you enable editing. On the type, you type in your name. Okay, the person completing the evaluation. And then down here, you're going to write the student's name in your group, including yourself. You're going to rate yourself. How did I do? How did my peers do? So you're going to enter. So let's say, for example, I'm doing it. Okay, so that's my name, and then here I'm gonna put my name. Okay, and then on my member number 2, I'm gonna put Mickey Mouse. On a member number 3, I'm gonna do Donald Duck. Okay, on member number 4, I'm gonna do Barney. Okay, so on and so forth. Okay, so you get the jinx. Now you're gonna assign a rating. Okay. Did Dr. Mercado participate in discussing and brainstorming ideas? Well, all the time she was participating, so I'm going to give myself a 3. Mickey Mouse on occasion would participate, not all the time. So I'm going to give Mickey Mouse a 2. Donald Duck never participated. Okay, never participated. He never got on any of the calls. He didn't participate in any of the brainstorming ideas. Okay, so you keep on completing it. Okay, so you're going to do each of these and you're going to assign a ranking. Okay, you're going to fill them all in and you're going to complete the entire process. Okay, so once you're done, at the very end, you're going to go ahead and you're going to tally up the total. Okay, 3 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. And you give me a total down here for each of the students. Okay, you're only going to be using these: 0 for never, 1 rarely, 2 sometimes or occasionally, and 3 all or most of the time. This is all you get to use, and that's what you're going to be filling in here for each of your group participants. And then you give me a total. Down here, you're going to have any additional comments. Okay, you can put here, Donald Duck never responded to any of the inquiries. He never turned in his work. He didn't meet the deadlines. You know, whatever the case might be, any complaints that you have, or, you know, you can say this group worked fabulous together. Everybody was on sync and everybody met their deadlines and everybody worked well together. Any comments that you want to add, you know, you're going to put them here. If I see that all of the group members coincided that Donald Duck did not participate, okay, or rarely participated or didn't contribute to the project, then I will have a talk with Donald Duck and say, hey, what happened? Your peers mentioned that you didn't participate, therefore you're not getting the grade for the assignment. It is not fair that you get a grade when you didn't participate. Obviously, if Donald Duck did not participate, Donald Duck would not have any slides in the final presentation. So, he can't really say much because there was no work submitted. But it's very important that if you have students that are not participating, that you get a hold of them and encourage them to meet the deadlines. But if they don't meet a deadline by the established time frame that the group has set, then you all need to move on because you all need to finish the project and let that student know, hey, you had more than enough time to complete your part of the project. You haven't done it. We're going to have to step in and do it for you. You're out of the group. Okay? And if that does happen where you kick someone out of the group because they're not adhering to the deadlines, they're not helping, they're not contributing, then you need to send me a Blackboard message informing me. We have removed Donald Duck from the group because Donald Duck has not participated in any of the calls, any of the messages, has not submitted any work, and we need to finalize the project. So we are taking on his part so we can continue and submit a completed project. Okay? This is an easy project. It's not very complicated. It's worth 125 points. That's 12.5% of your overall grade. I highly encourage that you put some time and effort into it. Get to know your peers, work well with them, and learn in the process. Okay? So you will be completing one of these. Now this is per student. Every student needs to complete a self and peer evaluation. You do not complete the self and peer evaluation, you will get a 0 for the entire assignment. This is a requirement. You will get points for it, but I'm not so much interested in the points. I'm interested in getting your feedback as to who participated, who did not, how did you feel about the project, so on and so forth. So for this one, you're going to be uploading you're going to download the file, fill it in, and then you're going to upload it for grading. Okay, this is only worth 10 points, but if you do not complete it, it says right here, failure to complete the self and peer evaluation will result in a 0 for the entire assignment. You will not earn any points, so do not forget to submit the self and peer evaluation. So that is where you would be submitting it. You'll download the file and then upload it into there. For the research project, that was one submission per group. Okay. Here you're going to find the group project requirements, the grading rubric, and the group member list. Okay. Everything is included. For this part of the assignment, it is worth 115 points. So let's start with the group project requirements. Okay. I'm going to download the file. Okay. So we have some specific instructions outlined. Okay. Students are to establish communication with their designated groups immediately. That is during week number 12. The group needs to set clear deadlines to identify the best communication approach. Okay? A date must be specified for if a group member does not respond, they are excluded from participating in the assignment. You are not going to wait on forever for these people to contact you. If they don't respond to your Blackboard messages, your Pronto messages, you can't get a hold of them, then let them know, hey, you're not answering, you're not participating, you're not collaborating, you're going to be kicked out of the group. That way the rest of the group members can split the work and get it done. Okay. Only students who actively collaborate and contribute to the project will earn the assignment points. If a group member is excluded due to lack of participation or communication, please inform me as to the name of the student and the reason they are being excluded. And please make sure you copy that student. That way they're not surprised, at the end that they're being excluded. That way they are being informed you are no longer part of our group because you did not meet the deadlines. Okay. If you are excluded from a group due to lack of participation, you will automatically earn a 0. You do not have the option to working on this on your own. This is a group project. Okay. We are all adults and should take group deadlines seriously. We should be cordial and respect each other at all times. Okay. Once the final group project is compiled, so you all distribute the work, you put it together, it is vital, important, critical that you establish time as a group to go over the final presentation and make sure that all of the requirements are met. You are not going to blindly have faith that everybody did the work correctly. So as a group, you do a peer review, you review each other's work, you make comments, you find areas for improvement. That way you can improve the overall quality of the presentation and the overall grade can be better. Okay. The group project is graded based on a group effort, not an individual member participation. Okay. I've had students tell me, Miss, my 3 slides were wonderful. Yes, they were. Great job. But the rest of the presentation was horrible. Okay. None of the requirements were met. The presenters were out of topic, whatever the case might be. So yes, your 3 slides could be wonderful, but the rest of the presentation is not. You're going to get a low grade. Okay. So that is why it's important that you review each other's work. Please constantly organize your time to communicate with your group and meet the established deadlines. Okay. So what are we going to learn in this project? Okay. The group project aims to research and identify conceptual differences between IFRS, which is the International Financial Reporting Standards, and US GAAP, which is Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. Okay. You're going to prepare a PowerPoint presentation with audio. Okay. It has to have audio and the audio has to be clear. The presentation needs to comply with the following requirements. Okay. This is going to be a PowerPoint presentation between 13 to 15 slides of actual content. When I mean actual content, I mean information is included and detailed notes are elaborated on the notes section. Okay. This does not include the cover page or the reference page. Okay. It's 13 to 15 slides of actual information being covered. Okay. Please do not put a picture and count that as a slide. Okay, if there is nothing being presented, it does not count towards your slide count. Okay, notes need to be included in each slide that elaborate on the slide's content. Each of the slides must include notes ranging from 150 to 250 words. Now, this is where you're going to actually put the research in the notes section. Okay. Failure to satisfy this requirement is going to result in lost points. Okay. Now, what you put on the slide should consist of key phrases, points, information, graphs, data, just an overview, a quick overview, something to catch the attention of the viewer. Okay. You are not to overload the slide with content. Okay, so you highlight key points and phrases, and in your notes section, that is what you're going to be presenting in the audio. That is what you're going to supplement the information explaining what you are in the slide. Okay, do not overload your slide with information and then just simply copy and paste the information into the notes. That is not acceptable. Okay, the information in the slide should be different than the information in the notes. Okay, your notes should elaborate and supplement the information you present within the actual slide. It is very important that you cite your sources within the notes section of each slide as well as within each of the slides. So if you are obtaining information and you're putting it in your slide, make sure that you put the source after each piece of information as well as in the notes section. Also, please make sure to cite your sources. Okay. Now you might ask yourself, what is she talking about dealing with the notes section? Okay. So let me open up PowerPoint. So I can show you what is it that you need to, where is it that you need to put the information. Okay. Okay, so you're going to have your title slide. You're going to put the title, name of your presentation and your group members as well. You're going to list them there. Now here is where you're going to put information. You see, you can make it smaller. Okay. And then here you have a section for notes. Okay. So here you're just going to highlight key points. Okay. You can put images, graphs, whatever makes you happy, but just key information. It should be brief. It should be, to the point, whatever is going to catch the attention of the viewer. Now, when you're preparing this presentation, you have to assume that the viewer, me, I have no knowledge about what you're presenting. So you have to kind of like guide me through it, explain it carefully. Okay, don't assume I know this information. Okay, so you're going to highlight key points, you're going to include images, graphs, and then in the notes section, this is where you're going to explain the information. Okay, now this is probably what you are going to be reading off. When presenting, okay? So this is going to elaborate the information or diagrams included in the slide. Now this section down here, the note section where I'm typing, okay, that is where you have to have 150 to 250 words, okay? So this is where you have to have 150 to 250 words of information per slide. Okay, so please make sure you understand on the actual slide, just key points, images, graphs, data that you find important, timelines, anything of that nature. Now in the notes is the supplemental information that's going to elaborate on those pieces of information. Okay, so this is what you're going to be doing for each of the 13 through 15 slides. Okay, so it's in the bottom of the slide. You have the notes section, okay? Not comments, but notes, okay? Right below it, okay? That is how you insert a note, okay? Okay, so all group members must actively participate in the research, preparing, and delivering the presentation. In addition, all group members must record the section of the presentation they worked on. So I want to know what you did, what your contribution was to the project, okay? I will not accept presentations that are missing audio unless you have some type of a disability where you cannot speak. Then at that case, you let me know. I have a disability. I cannot speak. I'm gonna have so and so do my presentation for me, and that is perfectly fine and acceptable. It has happened before. So if you do not have any kind of a disability, then you are required to do your presentation for the section that you prepared. Okay. When presenting your section, please state your name so the audience can know who is speaking. So if you're going to start on your section, you can say, "Hi, I am Dr. Mercado, and I'm going to be providing you with information about, significant differences in international financial reporting standards and GAAP." And then you start your presentation. Okay. In addition to introducing yourself, it is also very important that you put or include your name on the notes section of each of the slides. That way, down here, let me show you. Make sure that you put your name. Okay. I worked on slides 2, 3, and 4. Okay. That way I know Dr. Mercado is presenting the slide. Okay. And then when the next person comes in, then they will put their name on the next slide. Okay. But always make sure that the first thing that should be included is who is presenting or preparing this presentation for this particular slide. Okay, so make sure that you include your name on the notes section of who worked on each slide. Make sure that when you are reviewing the compiled presentation, all of your group members have done that as well. Okay, a title slide needs to be included, which includes the names of all group members that participated only. If a group member did not participate, then you do not include their name there. Okay. The title slide must also have audio. This is where the students are going to introduce themselves, include the title of the presentation, maybe a short overview, whatever you want to do on the title slide, but it does have to have audio. Okay. A reference page also needs to be included, and the sources organized alphabetically. So I know that each of you are going to be doing your own research. When you compile the information together for the sources, it is very important that you organize the sources alphabetically. Okay, I'm only going to want one big list. If there are any duplicate sources, maybe both of us use the textbook, delete one of them. Okay, you should only have one source and no duplicates, and the list should be organized in alphabetical order. Okay. It is important that in-text citations within the sites and notes section of the PowerPoint must be included. Okay, so if you obtain this information from a source, let's say you got this from Wilson 2014, that is how you should cite it. Okay, Wilson 2014, At the end, I'm going to have a reference list with all of the details about this information. If I got this second sentence from Smith, 1999, then I'm going to include it here. Do not include the reference or the citations at the end of the presentation. Wherever you obtain information, if this sentence comes from Wilson, then it needs to be cited right there. If this sentence comes from Smith, I need to cite it right there. Okay, so make sure that you review your citations. We're using APA formats and that you cite accordingly. The same thing here. If you have key points, let's say you have a piece of information and you got this from Lawrence, make sure that you notate it. Okay, that way I know this piece of information that you highlighted on your slide is coming from here. Okay, and then I can just trace this back to your reference page. Okay, so the reference page needs to be included, organized in alphabetical order. So the reference list is basically the detailed information of each of your references, including the link if it's an online source. That way I can go back and review. Okay. But do include in-text citations. Plagiarism is not going to be tolerated. I run your information through a special program, and if it does come back with plagiarism, you will get a 0 on the assignment. So please make sure that if you are getting information from a source, you put it into your own words, and you still give credit to that source. Okay, not because you are rephrasing or paraphrasing the information means you no longer have to include it. No, you are required to put it into your own words and include the citation. Okay. Please ensure to cite your sources accordingly. A citation should be included after each sentence where a source is used. Do not simply list your references at the end of the slide or the notes. Okay. If you need help with citing your sources, our STC's tutoring lab has that available. I have also included some additional links here that will help you with your citations. Okay. This is not an English class. I am not going to go too much into citing. But if you do need help, we've got a lot of sources available. You can find a lot of information online as well. We are using APA format. Please make sure that you comply with that formatting. Okay. Students are encouraged to include statistics, graphs, charts, and images within their presentations to make them dynamic and catch the viewer's attention. Okay. Now, number 8 is very important. This is something new. The use of artificial intelligence is not allowed. Yes, artificial intelligence is fabulous, but I do not allow it to be used in my class for purposes of this project. Okay. If I identify students are using artificial intelligence to create their presentations, the entire group will earn a 0 on the assignment. Okay. So please make sure to shy away from artificial intelligence, and it is very easy to catch it. Okay. So please make sure that you conduct the research the old-fashioned way. You do it yourself. You put the presentation together, and there will be no issues. Okay. Now, what are we going to include in the PowerPoint presentation? The first thing that you have to include is you're going to provide a history or a background on both International Financial Reporting Standards and GAAP. Okay. Now, this can include, but is not limited to, an overview of why and when IFRS and GAAP were created, what caused their creation, a timeline of their development. How did they start and how has it progressed to where it is today? The decision-making process of how policies are set. How are these guidelines or rules established? Explain the process. Remember, I know nothing about this, so you need to be able to inform me and educate me on the process of how are particular policies set. Are there any committees involved? Anything of that nature. Okay, so that is the first requirement. The second requirement is a definition overview explaining IFRS and GAAP. Now, for this section, you can include the purpose of each, the mission, the users, the structure, etc. Okay, you're going to explain those in detail. Now, letter C is the most important of them all. This is where you're going to identify and explain 5 significant differences between IFRS and GAAP. Okay, These differences should explain how IFRS and GAAP accounting practices or principles differ. Please include a side-by-side comparison of the differences and provide an example. Okay, so if you are stating as one of your differences the layout of the income statement, for example, let's say that the income statement layout is different. You're going to explain how are they different, and then you're going to put me an image of an income statement using GAAP and an income statement using IFRS, and you're going to highlight and compare and contrast the differences between the two. Okay, so I want to visually see what is it that you're explaining, and then in your notes you're going to supplement and explain, okay, these are some areas that are different. Okay, if a calculation is being done, maybe calculating intangible assets or whatever the case might be, accounting for goodwill, you have to explain, give the calculation for how it's done in IFRS and how it's done in GAAP, and provide me with an example so I can be able to see it. Okay, so it's very important that you comply with all of the requirements. You can identify it, explain it, and provide an example. Now, do not include as a difference, do not include as a difference, then one is rule-based and the other is principle-based, or then one is employed in the United States and that GAAP is international. Okay? I don't want to know that because that I already know. Okay, I want to know specific accounting practices or principles that are different between the two. How does the accounting differ? Okay, how do you do things differently in IFRS than GAAP? Okay, and that is what we're going to learn about in this class. Okay, so these are 5 significant differences. Both of your the majority of your groups either have 4 or 5 group members in them. I recommend that in this section you all split out and do at least one each. That way, because this is a section that I think is the hardest work, because you're really going to have to dig into identifying the differences and explaining them in depth. Okay. And then you're going to, after you're done with letter C, you're going to move on to provide 3 reasons why IFRS has not been implemented in the United States. Please be detailed and include facts and statistics. Okay. If you state it would be very costly to implement. Okay. How costly? Give me a number. Give me an estimate. Based on who? Okay. Why is it going to cost? Give me details. Okay. So it's very important that you don't simply just give me highlight bullet points. You explain. Okay. So you're going to provide 3 reasons why IFRS has not been implemented, and then you're going to finalize the presentation with what your group thinks. Does your group believe IFRS is going to be implemented in the United States in the near future? Why or why not? And support your reasoning with published data. Okay. The group project is worth 125 points, 115 points for the presentation, 10 points for the self and peer evaluation. So these are the components, the 5 components that are going to be covered in your presentation. These are the instructions, the length of the presentation, the notes, the audio, the title slide, the reference page, the formatting, artificial intelligence, and the formatting. Okay. So it's very important that you carefully, I would recommend you print this out and that you mark them off as you're tackling each of the requirements. Okay. Now for the audio, okay, depending on the version that you have, you can do insert, and then you have a button up here that says audio, and then you record audio. Okay. And then you can record the audio here. Okay, there's different methods. I've got an older version. This is my desktop computer. I've got a 2019 version. At work, I have a 2021 version, I believe. But in my office, I don't have the software to record lectures. I have to do them from home. Okay, but just make sure that you just insert and you record your audio. Okay, and it'll start recording. You will need either, I recommend you have a headset, that way it minimizes the external noise. But if you don't have a computer or you don't have a headset, you can always go to a lab at the library if you are local to an STC computer lab or library, and you can do the recording there. Okay. But just remember, on the actual PowerPoint, you must include information, key information on the slide. Your notes is where you're going to have the 150 to 250 words of supplemental information. You're going to cite your sources in the notes and in the slide. And then each slide will have the name of the person that worked on it. And you're going to record audio presenting the information, just like if you were in front of me. Okay. Now, students have asked, Miss, do I have to include my face as I'm recording? There are some softwares that allow you to do that, others do not. And I'm not going to put you through the troubles of having to figure that out. I don't need to see your face as long as I hear your voice. That is all I need. Just do make sure that before you upload the final presentation that the audio is clear. Okay? Make sure that you test it out, that you play it and it plays and everything works okay. Okay? I will not accept if I get a presentation that that's missing the audio, you'll get a 0. Okay? Even though it's an awesome presentation, no audio, I'm not going to grade it. Okay? So please make sure that you have that set. Okay? So those are the group project requirements that is provided. I am also including the rubric. How am I going to grade you? That way you know the grading. So the first requirement, which is provide the history about IFRS and GAAP, will be 15 points. The definition will be 15 points. The 5 significant differences will be 20 points. The 3 reasons will be 10 points. Do you believe IFRS will be implemented? That will be 10 points. Your presentation length will be 5 points. The notes section, if you don't adhere to the 150 to 250 words, you'll lose 15 points. Your participation and the audio section will be 10 points. Your title slide will be 5 points, and the reference page and citations will be 10 points. That will give you 115 points. Okay, so this is how I am going to be grading your project. Okay, so that is also included there. And then last but not least, I have the group member list. Okay, that was provided to you in Blackboard, but I have them here. These are the 5 groups. Okay, that way you have the information for reference as well. Okay, so all of the information is provided. Once you are done, your group lead will upload the final presentation here and submit it for grading. Only one presentation per group. Okay. So that is that. Oh, I forgot to mention. Let me go back. So when you upload this project into the system, it's going to generate a report. Okay, because we have an originality report set up to where it tracks if your information is being plagiarized. Okay, please make sure that you review that safe assign report. The report should be at a 20% or less match. Okay, if your report comes back with an 85-90% match, it basically means you copied and pasted the information. If it has that, you'll get a 0. Okay, so it's very important that whoever submits that report or submits the final presentation, reviews that report. And it can take a couple of minutes because it takes a while for the report to compare your information to all of the data files. Okay, so it could take up to an hour. Just go back and make sure that you review it, and it'll give you highlighted sections of information that were copied and pasted, the sources and all of that good stuff. So make sure that you review it, and if it is at a more than 20% match, you need to go back and make the necessary revisions, put the information into your own words, paraphrase it, so on and so forth. Okay, please be very careful on that. Now, the group lead is going to upload it, and they're going to wait for the report. The report comes back. The group lead is going to get with your group. Okay. Hey group, I got the safe assign report and it's showing 85% match on the report. We need to go back and fix these sections. Okay, you all go back, you all make corrections to your sections, and then you re-upload it again. Okay, so very important that you do that. Okay, now all of the information is provided in module week 13 and 14. Okay, you also have an extra credit assignment that's optional, but I encourage all students to complete it. That way you can earn some additional points. Okay, but just remember to go to the module overview, and I do have some great videos there that are going to help you depending on what is it that you are having issues with. Adding audio, the PowerPoint tutorial using APA format, and adding speaker notes. Okay, so these are helpful resources that I've made available to you. Okay, if after you review all of this information, you have any additional questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact me. The preferred method of communication is Blackboard messages up here. You can send me a message and I'll respond as soon as possible. Okay? So that is basically it. I hope all of you have a great time working together in groups, getting to know your group members, and learning a little bit about international financial reporting and GAAP. Okay, so I hope it's a fabulous learning experience, and I look forward to viewing and listening to your presentations. Okay, so that is it. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and until next time, bye bye.